Hello, everyone. This is an assignment for unlocking investment and finance in emerging markets and developing economies, a World Bank massive open online course for June 2019. My name is Jacinta Acquay. For this assignment, the task is to draft a short national financing strategy for an EMDE country to access additional resources of finance for its development. My country of choice is Zambia. As the Deputy Minister, I have been tasked to lead a team to identify and mobilize resources to finance critical projects for the country's development goals for the next 5 years. Let's take a look at a few country highlights. Zambia is a landlocked country located in the southern part of Africa. The country has diverse wildlife with large copper deposits, and its GDP continues to grow. Zambia's GDP is around $28.20 billion, although the country faced some challenges that caused the GDP to decline between 2013 and 2016 significantly. This has since picked up, and economic models project this growth trend to continue and reach $32 billion by 2030. Here are a few economic progress report. All these positive economic highlights have been possible due to the government's effort to strengthen its policy framework for the past decade. Notable improvements include adopting a private sector development reform program, advances in the investment code and regulatory framework, encouraging private investment in infrastructure, business facilitation and economic diversification and trade expansion, free entry investment in virtually all sectors of the economy, abolishing exchange rate controls, allowing 100% repatriation of profits, and adopting trade reforms aimed at simplifying and harmonizing the tariff structure. But there are some challenges. Okay. This economic growth has been much stronger in the mining sector due to increased prices and stability in the copper market, while other sectors such as agriculture and food processing, energy and tourism remain untapped. The nation's current challenges include high unemployment among the youth and lack of diversity in the economic sectors, agriculture and tourism in particular. The current unemployment rate is at 7.8%, with a much higher rate among the youth. Now, although the unemployment rate has declined since 2010, there's still much to be done to help reduce this rate. The government anticipates a population growth of 3.02% between 2014 and 2030 with a dependency ratio of 1.22 and a working age population growth increase of 3.35 by 2050 with a dependency ratio of 1.41. This is a UN 2017 report. Now, these projections drive the need to create sustainable jobs and the need to look beyond mining for the nation's economic growth. According to the UN mid-range population projection for Zambia, an average of 375,000 young people will enter the workforce each year through 2030. Zambia therefore needs to put jobs at the center of its development planning. To increase labor productivity growth and meet the increasing job demands, it is vital to implement structural changes with faster productivity growth in the agro-food processing and the tourism sectors. A focus in these areas would help diversity and will help diversify the economic sector and provide additional private investment opportunities for the country. So let's take a quick look at the investment climate of Zambia. FDI inflows for 2018 was $1.1 billion. UNCTAD 2018 World Investment Report shows an increase in FDI net inflows for Zambia last year compared to neighboring countries in the region, which suffered a combined decline totaling 66%. This increase was mainly due to higher copper prices. These results suggest a favorable climate to lure in more investment if Zambia puts in place a robust and resilient plan to diversify and take necessary initiatives to remove bottlenecks that may hinder economic growth. So, what is the strategy? Our economic development plan for the next 5 years will focus on four key areas: agro-food processing, job creation, tourism, and tax administration. We will expand the agro-food processing sector to promote private investments, both local and foreign, including training in food process technology and develop the workforce to be competitive in a technologically advanced global market. We will expand the tourism sector. This will be in hospitality and service, including training for the workforce to meet global market requirements and expectations. We will create jobs to help address the high unemployment rate among the Zambian youth in particular. We will improve tax compliance and collection and address corruption issues in this area. So let's break this down by starting with agro-food processing sector. Zambia's agro industry accounts for about 20% of the nation's GDP. The agriculture sector products include cotton, soybean, tobacco, groundnuts, paprika, sorghum, wheat, rice, sunflower seeds, coffee, as well as sugar, fruits, and flowers. These provide a wide variety of opportunities for private and foreign investors to tap, but we need to train the workforce. To fund this initiative, we will work with our agro-food education partners who have pledged $1 million per institution per year. So in total, we have $5 million per year from this group. Now, these are the universities are Wageningen University and Research in Netherlands, Cornell University in the United States, University of California, Davis in the United States, Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences in Sweden, and University of Reading in the United Kingdom. For our multilateral partner contribution, we are receiving $30 million per year from UNESCO, and from IBRD and IDA together have pledged $10 million per year for the next 5 years. So altogether, we have a pledge of $105 million for this sector. Let's look at tourism. For tourism, we'll focus on two key opportunities: partnership and FDI. So for our tourism partners have pledged to invest about $500,000 per institution per year, which will give us $1.5 million per year to help train students in our 6 public universities. These universities are the School of Hotel Administration at Cornell University in the United States, École Hôtelière de Lausanne in Switzerland, Oxford School of Hospitality Management in United Kingdom. We also have hotel investors. Now we look at developing the hospitality industry through FDI by building hotels in strategic areas to attract tourists. So this will provide job on-the-job training for adult employees to help improve the tourism industry. The hotels plan to minimize imports and locally source catering supplies. Now, this would help improve employment challenges in the agriculture industry, including food processing sector. So the following hotels have have agreed to work with us. Hilton Hotels, they've pledged 25 million development. Marriott Hotels, 25 million. Ibis Hotels, 15 million. Now, we also look to provide incentive to raise more funds, which is looking at about 50 million per year by encouraging local entrepreneurs as well as corporations in the mining and energy sectors to invest, diversify, and grow the tourism sector. So for FDI, we're looking about 65 million plus 150 million dollars from local investment per year. We also look forward to more FDI investment from other hotels and anticipate raising another 100 million. Now, for the job creation part, our goal is to achieve three objectives: to capture the demographic dividend of an expanding workforce and falling dependency, and to ensure inclusive growth as well as improvements in education and training. We plan to create more formal sector jobs, improve the productivity of informal employment in small-scale farming, agri-food processing, and tourism, while encouraging commercialization and links to business supply chains to help connect vulnerable groups to jobs. We plan to make improvements in the education ministry as well. Now, despite stable funding to the education sector, there's still more to be done to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of resource use. We recognize that skills development is the key to ensuring that more impoverished people benefit from economic growth. We realize that generating enough jobs for future economic growth will require a combination of labor-intensive growth and economic transformation. We also need improvement in higher education. Zambia's higher education system lacks the necessary resources and effectiveness to promote equity. For example, currently about 77% of the university enrollment is from the wealthiest 10% of the population, but this changes effectively. The government will now require enrollment in all public universities to be based on merit, particularly for agro-food processing and tourism programs. The government anticipates about 370,000 students to enroll annually with an estimated cost of $2,000 per student per year, a total of about $74 million per year in spending to cover the cost for the next 5 years. So for the next 5 years, all students enrolled in the agro-food processing and tourism programs in our public universities will receive full scholarships, while other programs, as well as those in private universities, will receive partial scholarship. This is up to 50% of tuition. Now let's look at the tax area. We need to secure more funds to accomplish this 5-year development plan. Zambia's tax receipt has shown steady growth since 2017, but there's more to be achieved. In 2018, an export duty of 15% was introduced on precious metals, including gold, precious stones, and gemstones to help improve internal funding. Zambia's tax revenue for 2018 was $2.4 billion. However, tax compliance and collection effectiveness remain a significant challenge. To address these concerns, we are increasing mineral royalty rates for copper by 1.5% at all levels of the sliding scale, and an additional tier introduced at 10% when copper prices rise beyond $7,500 per metric tons. Mineral royalties on cobalt will increase from 5% to 8%. We are broadening the collection mandates of tax agents to include base tax, turnover tax, withholding tax on rental income and presumptive taxes. We are implementing a customs valuation database. We are digitizing the entire revenue collection process, improving the Land Management Authority on all matters relating to land management and titling, and we'll be enhancing the taxpayer services. We project that these increases and improvements will help to further raise revenue by 30%, which will lump sum be around $3.6 billion annually for the next 5 years. 30%, which is 1.8 million of this increase of the expected annual tax revenue for the next 5 years, will be allocated to this development plan. Our estimated financing need for the next 5 year or for a 5-year plan is at $800 billion plus. For education, we need $400 million for 5 years. Tourism needs will be $150 million for the 5 years. Agro-food processing needs is $250 million for 5 years. Our available sources of finance from both public and private sources have been through, for the 5 years, have been through tax revenue. So for the 5 years, we'll have 9 million. Multilateral partners will have $200 million. Agri-food education partners will provide us with $25 million. And for tourism, we'll be receiving $7.5 million. FDI will provide $65 million for 5 years. And then our local investment, we plan to raise about $500 million for the next 5 years. So this brings our total to about $806 million. So what efforts have we made to remove constraints to unlocking financing opportunities? We received help from multilateral development banks like the International Development Association, IDA, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, World Bank, whose systematic country diagnostic report helped to identify key impediments to economic development and growth, economic trends, employment trends, pathways out of poverty for Zambian youth. Outcomes from this report helped in identifying key areas that we need to focus on for the next 5 years to enable economic growth and sustainable development. In conclusion, we believe that taking this blended approach to financing will enable us to fully unlock investment opportunities for Zambia. We look forward to broaden our range of stakeholders to include the European Union in particular, to help mobilize European funds and enable us to blend loans and private guarantees for investments to grow different sectors in order to promote sustained, inclusive economic growth and productive employment and decent work for all Zambian citizens. Thank you.